Bogotá, Colombia, Arling, a vibrant city, home to millions, and a place where the lines between the modern and the ancient can blur in the most unsettling ways. This is the story of Sofia, a bright 21-year-old university student whose life was about to take a turn into the deepest shadows of human experience. Sofia was like any other student. Her days were filled with lectures, library sessions, and late-night study groups. Friends described her as ambitious, warm, and full of laughter. She had a clear path, a promising future. But in the spring of 2020, as the world was grappling with a global crisis, a very personal one began to unfold within the walls of her family home. It started subtly, a pervasive anxiety she couldn't shake. She began to feel a constant, gnawing sense of being watched. Sleep offered no escape, instead bringing vivid, terrifying nightmares that left her exhausted and on edge. Her family noticed the change. The laughter faded, replaced by a quiet, withdrawn presence. They attributed it to the stress of her demanding studies and the uncertainty of the times. They encouraged her to see a doctor. Sofia's first visit was to a general practitioner. Stress, she was told. Then, as her anxiety worsened, escalating into full-blown panic attacks, she was referred to a psychologist. Session after session, they explored her past, her fears, her relationships, but her condition only deteriorated. She began experiencing blackouts, moments of lost time where she would wake up with no memory of the past few hours. Her personality began to fracture. The gentle, studious young woman was now prone to sudden, inexplicable fits of rage. Her family was desperate. They took her to a leading psychiatric hospital in Bogotá. She underwent a battery of tests, EEGs, extensive psychological evaluations. The doctors were thorough, searching for any sign of a tumor, a neurological disorder, or a recognizable psychiatric illness. But every test came back normal. Her brain activity was healthy, her cognitive functions intact, yet her behavior grew more alarming. During her hospital stay, nurses documented bizarre occurrences. Sofia would speak in a voice that was not her own, a deep, guttural tone that uttered phrases in languages she had never studied. She would recoil violently at the sight of religious symbols brought by her devout mother. Her strength became unnatural. On one occasion, it took 4 orderlies to restrain her during an outburst, a feat of power that seemed impossible for her slight frame. She would stare at the ceiling for hours, whispering to someone who wasn't there. Medical professionals documented these episodes with clinical precision, noting the spike in her heart rate and blood pressure, but could offer no medical explanation. They diagnosed her with a severe, atypical psychosis, yet the prescribed medications had no effect. If anything, they seemed to agitate her further. As medical options dwindled, Sofia's desperate family turned to a path they never imagined they would walk. They contacted the local archdiocese after hearing the family's story and reviewing the medical reports, which clearly stated no known medical or psychiatric cause could be found. The church agreed to investigate. 2 experienced priests were assigned to the case. What followed was a series of encounters that defy easy explanation. The priests began with simple prayers and blessings in Sofia's hospital room, a process the doctors were permitted to observe and monitor. As soon as the prayers began, Sofia's body would contort. Her vital signs, displayed on a monitor nearby, would become erratic. Her heart rate would skyrocket to dangerous levels, then plummet just as quickly. The temperature in the room would drop noticeably, a phenomenon even the skeptical medical staff couldn't ignore. The sessions were moved to a more private setting, supervised but away from the main hospital floor. The priests, armed with their rituals and faith, began the formal rite of exorcism. The process was grueling, both for Sofia and for everyone present. For hours, they would engage in a battle of wills. The entity, or personality, that had taken hold of Sofia would mock them, reveal private details about the priests' lives they couldn't possibly know, and scream in that same, terrifying, altered voice. It spoke of ancient hatreds and dark places. The priests remained steadfast, repeating their prayers, their Latin verses echoing in the tense, quiet room. Weeks turned into months. There were moments of calm, where Sofia would seem to return, crying, confused, with no memory of what had happened. She would ask for her mother, looking lost and afraid. But these moments of lucidity were fleeting. The darkness would always pull her back under. Doctors continued to monitor her physical state, ensuring she was hydrated and stable, all the while documenting a case that fell far outside their textbooks. They were witnesses to something their training could never have prepared them for. Then, One evening in late 2020, during another long session, something shifted. After a prolonged period of violent convulsions and guttural roars, Sofia's body suddenly went limp. The room fell silent. The priests, exhausted, watched her carefully. After several minutes, her eyes fluttered open. She looked around, her gaze clear for the first time in months. She saw her mother and whispered her name. It was over. Just like that, she was back. In the days that followed, Sofia's recovery was astonishing. Her personality returned. The anger, the fear, the strange voices all gone. Medical examinations showed her to be in perfect health. She had no memory of the events that had transpired over the past several months, a gaping hole in the timeline of her life. To her, it was as if she had fallen asleep in the spring and woken up at the end of the year. Sofia eventually resumed her studies, rebuilding the life that was so violently interrupted. The official medical records remain inconclusive, filed away as a case of extreme, unexplained psychosis with a spontaneous recovery. The Church, for its part, documented it as a successful, though harrowing, case of spiritual intervention. So, what really happened to Sofia in Bogotá? Was she a victim of a rare and profound mental illness that science has yet to understand? Did the power of ritual and belief create a powerful placebo effect that shocked her mind back to normalcy? Or was she, as her family and the priests believe, the target of a malevolent force, an actual possession that temporarily stole her life? The story of Sofia leaves us with a chilling question, one that sits uncomfortably on the border between faith and science, between the world we know and the darkness we can only imagine. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as compelling as we did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the unknown. Stay curious.